everyone, my name is Tiana Knights and I am a blanketeer at the Santa Clarita Valley, Antelope Valley, and Sylmar chapter of Project Linus. If you don't know, Project Linus is a non-profit organization that donates blankets to critically ill or traumatized children or children who have unfortunately lost a member of their family to the military. And today I'm going to be teaching you how to do the tied fleece edge of a blanket. Now this name can be a little bit deceiving because you're not actually tying anything, but let's get started and see how it's done. When starting out, the first thing that you always want to do is pick your fleece. And the type of fleece that blanketeers normally use is called blizzard or polar or anti-pill. The other types of fleece can be irritating to the children who have them, or they can cause respiratory problems sometimes if the blankets shed too much. So we use the really safe, nice, warm types of fleece. I chose this fleece because I liked all of the names of the national parks on it. What you're going to want to use to start your blanket making process are some scissors, a seam ripper, some tape, a square, and a strip. The first thing you're always going to want to do when you're starting out your blanket is you're going to cut the selvage off. Now this part right here is called a selvage, and you can see because this pattern does not match this pattern. So you're going to want to cut just the whole selvage all the way up your blanket. There's another selvage on the other side of your blanket which is a little bit more difficult to see, but as you can see right here, there are holes all the way up your blanket, and that is the selvage. So you're just going to want to cut all the way along the holes all the way up your blanket. If you're having a hard time finding the selvage, just try to look for the holes or cut 2 to 3 inches away from the edge of your blanket. Now that you've cut off both of your selvage, you can throw them away. You won't need them after this. Next, you're going to want to figure out which side of your blanket is the top and which side is the bottom. I chose this blanket because it has a lot of words on it, so you can see exactly which side is the top and which is the bottom. Right now, we are on the bottom side because the words are backwards and upside down. So you're just going to want to flip your blanket over and start working with the good side that have the right words facing the right way. Sometimes with a blanket you can't tell whether or not the front is the front and the back is the back, but it doesn't matter all the time as long as you flip the tassels the same way. Next step, you're going to want to find the corners. You're going to cut out all 4 corners. You'll need your square and you're going to place it on the corner of your blanket and cut this side and this side so that you have a square when you're done. And you can go ahead and do that with all the other sides of your blanket.
Well-to-do up on Lenox Avenue on that famous thoroughfare with their nose.
Now that you have all 4 squares cut out from your blanket, you aren't going to need them anymore, so you can go ahead and throw those away also. For this next part of your blanket, you're going to need your tape, and you might want to go sit on the floor and have a partner for this part. What you're going to want to do now is take your tape and put it on the top of your corners so that you can see where you need to cut up to when you're doing your strips. Now is the time where you can make any adjustments. So as you can see, this side right here is a little bit wonky. So what I'm just going to do is I'm going to cut along and just straighten it up a little bit. Now that you've made your adjustments and all 4 sides are the same size, you can take your strip and start cutting some strips. So what you're going to do is you're going to place your strip on whichever corner you want to start with, and you're just going to cut along the side of the strip that hasn't already been cut. So if you're on the corner, you place your strip on the corner right here, and you would cut this side of the strip. Normally if you're right-handed, it's a lot easier to start on this side and work your way along to the right, but if you're left-handed, you could start the way that I did and go back that way, but I'm going to start on that side with my strip. When cutting strips, you want to cut all the way up to the top of the tape. The tape is there as a guideline to make sure that you don't go over and make some of the strips too big and some too short. So that's why when I put my tape down, I knew that this side was a little bit wonky, and I fixed it so that all of the strips would be the same size. Sometimes they're a little bit too short and they don't reach the top. You can still cut all the way up to the top of your tape either way.
Putting on the rinse.
You might run into a situation like this where your strip is a little bit too big and the fabric is a little bit too small, and cutting the strip into the fabric would make 2 uneven pieces. So what you might want to do is just freehand it and cut it almost exactly down the middle, or as even as you can make the 2 strips.
Come with me, I will attend the Jubilee and see them spend their last 2 bits. Putting
you've finished cutting all of your tassels, you're going to want to take your seam ripper and poke a little hole in the top of every strip that you just cut. You want to make sure that the hole is as close to the blue tape as you can make it. Now you want to make sure that these holes are not so big that you can fit your thumb through it, but not so small that you're having such a tough time trying to get the tassel through. Take the end of your tassel and instead of flipping it up and over, you want to flip it underneath and through the hole.
Ain't that a kick in the head? The room was completely black. I hugged her and she hugged back. Like a sailor said, quote, ain't that a hole in the boat?
So here you can see I finished one whole side of my blanket, and you can tell that this is the top because the words are facing the right way and the pretty part is on top. So what I mean is this looks really nice and uniform. And this part, you can see exactly where everything is flipped and just how ratty and gross it is. So you want to make sure that you flip all of your tassels on all four sides around the exact same way so that you don't ever see any of this ratty part. And so there you have it. You finished all of your blanket and all of your tassels are facing the same way so that the pretty side is on top. And now your blanket is ready to donate to Project Linus.